we are going to start our regional webinar. So please encourage them to sign in immediately or participate now. Um, just a little reminder prior to our official comment start of the regional webinar. Number one, please set to mute your microphones and videos all throughout the webinar, especially those who were able to participate using the Google Meet. You may turn them on only when you are recognized to talk. We are comforted by the fact that many of our participants are participating through the live streaming of YouTube. So that's good po. Also, please ensure that your screen shows at all times the slides and videos being presented. If you have some ideas or if you want to share your thoughts or questions, please type them in our message boxes, and this will be addressed to shortly by our personnel in the regional office. In doing so, please practice collegial exchange of ideas. Also, may I encourage everyone, all our participants, to be ready with your downloaded materials. The link was already posted at the group chats. This will be used later on in our webinar because we are going to have a simulation after the sessions 1 and 2 afterwards. Okay po. Now, for those who are sharing computers on their mobile phones with their friends or colleagues in participating in this webinar, please be reminded to still observe proper health protocols like the wearing of face masks and social distancing. Also, a little advice for everyone, since this regional webinar would run through about 3 hours probably until 12 o'clock, may I advise you or encourage you to find a comfortable chair or a conducive place for you to have or to participate in this webinar. Okay po. Nakita ko rin po yung makasama natin sa regional office, sina Sir Jerry, Sir Lieber, and their other companions at the regional office. We also have our companions here at the division office na. And I believe marami na rin po tayong mga participants from the field. Today, Friday, this is the third day of our regional webinar for the participants of SDO Isabela, specifically participants from LD4 and LD5. So welcome po sa inyong lahat. I would like also to acknowledge our participants from other LDs and other divisions who were not able to participate with us during the previous sessions due to some pressing concerns. So marami po tayo today. I hope after this seminar, lahat po ng personnel sa Schools Division Office of Isabela ay makapag-participate na po. For the information of everyone, this webinar is open for all personnel in the division, especially our public schools district supervisors or the districts in charge. Also, this is open for our raters, the school principals, school heads, head teachers, and our master teachers. We also open this webinar to our district ICT coordinators and also to our school IT officers or IT coordinators. They are with us because later on, we will be needing their technical expertise and their support and assistance in accomplishing our IPCRF form and also in the submission and monitoring of IPCRF data. So please stand by lang po tayo while waiting for our participants and for the start of our regional webinar. Again, thank you very much and welcome po. Good morning po everyone again, and welcome to the regional webinar on the IPCRF data collection system for school year 2019-2020. Today is June 26, 2020, and this is the third leg, the third day of this regional webinar for the Schools Division Office of Isabela personnel. Today, our expected participants are the personnel from the legislative districts 4 and 5 of Isabela. These are the districts from Cordon North, Cordon South, San Agustin, Jones East, Jones West. For LD5, we also have the districts of Aurora, Burgos, Luna, Malig, Quezon, Quirino, Roas West, and San Manuel. Aside from our participants from these districts, we also welcome the participants from other legislative districts of Isabela and also from other divisions here in Region 2. Welcome po sa inyong lahat. Just a refresher on our regional webinar today. This is not new to us anymore here in SDO Isabela because we already had this orientation last year. We already had a data collection system for the IPCRF last year. If you remember, we went to different districts in the whole of SDO Isabela last year, together with the Division IT Officer, Sir Orlando Nicolas Jr. We gave an orientation to all our raters last year together with their district ICT coordinators. If I remember it right, we went to LD1. In LD1, we went to Kabagan. In LD2, we did the orientation in Palanan and also in Reina Mercedes. In LD3, we had our orientation in Cabatuan. In LD4, we did it in Cordon. In LD5, we had our orientations in Quirino and also in San Manuel. And of course, in LD6, we did the orientation in Echage. For those who were able to participate in those orientations, hindi na siguro kayo mahirapan sa accomplishing of IPCRF and data submission natin today kasi halos parehas din lang naman. But just the same, I encourage you to please listen carefully because meron po tayong mga nabagong features ng ating e-tool para sa ating IPCRF. Also, in the same way na may nabago din po sa manner of submission of our data to our central office. Okay po? So please listen carefully po. Before I forget later on, baka matapos tayo mamaya na hindi ko napasalamatan ng ating mga partners, may I acknowledge and thank our partners in our webinar today. Of course, number one is our Department of Education and also the Bureau of Human Resource and Organizational Development. I would like also to thank the RCTQ or the Philippine National Research Center for Teacher Quality, which is based in Manila. I would like also to thank our partner, the University of New England, based in Australia, and also the National Center of Science, ICT, and Mathematics Education for Regional and Rural Australia. They are our partners po. Also, while waiting for the start of our regional webinar, I would like to give you some reminders. We are comforted by the fact that many of our participants are joining through the YouTube live streaming. So, hindi po siguro natin problema yung mga naka-on na mic and video cameras. But for those who are able to join in our Google Meet, please set to mute your microphones and videos all throughout the webinar, especially if you are not recognized to talk. You may turn them on only when you are going to give your presentation or when you are recognized to talk. Okay po? Please ensure also that your screen shows at all times the slides and videos being presented by our resource persons. If you have some ideas or questions or if you want to share your thoughts, please type them in our message boxes and this will be addressed to by our regional office personnel shortly. In doing so, please practice collegial exchange of ideas. Please, our participants, be ready with your downloaded materials as this will be needed later on during our hands-on exercise and simulation part of this webinar. For those who are already sharing computers or mobile phones in participating in this webinar, if they are sharing with their colleagues or friends, please be reminded to still observe proper health protocols like the wearing of face masks and social distancing. Again, thank you very much for those who came in or who are logged in early. For those who are not yet logged in or who have not participated yet, please inform your friends and colleagues to log in now, as in a short moment we are going to start our regional webinar. Thank you very much po, and please stand by for our webinar. Thank you. Good morning po again everyone and welcome to the regional webinar on the IPCRF Data Collection System for school year 2019-2020. I have already seen some of our participants from the regional offices, our management team at the regional office. We have here already Sir Jerry Sario. Good morning, Sir Jerry. Also, we already have Sir Lieber. Good morning po. And also the other companions, our other partners in the regional office. I have also seen already our companions, our partners, our officials in the division office. We have Ma'am Madeline Makaling. Good morning, ma'am. Also, Sir Jess Antonio. Good morning, sir. And our other personnel po sa division office. And I would like to welcome all our participants for this regional webinar, third leg for the SDO Isabela. I said third leg because this is our third day that we are having this regional webinar for the SDO Isabela personnel. Last Wednesday, we had our webinar and our participants then were the personnel from LD1 and LD2. Yesterday, we had our participants from Legislative District 3 and District 6. For today, our participants are the personnel, DepEd personnel from Legislative District 4 and 5 of SDO Isabela. Good morning po sa inyong lahat. May I acknowledge our participants from the districts of Cordon North, Cordon South, San Agustin, Jones East, Jones West. Also from District 5, we have our Aurora, Burgos, Luna, Malig, Quezon East, Quezon District, Quirino, Rojas East, Rojas West, and San Manuel. I don't know if they are here with us today, but kasali rin po kasi sa Legislative District 4 ng Isabela ang Dinapige. So probably some of our participants from Dinapige are with us today. Also, I would like to acknowledge our participants from other LDs ng Isabela, yung LD1, LD2, LD3, and LD6 who for some valid reason siguro ay they were not able to join our regional webinar in the previous 2 days. So welcome po sa inyong lahat. And also, I would like to acknowledge also our participants from the other divisions here in Region 2. Okay po, some of their participants probably were not able to make it during their schedule. So welcome pa rin po sila sa atin today. Just a little reminder for our participants, please set to mute your microphone and video all throughout the webinar. Turn them on only when you are recognized to talk. But I think since most of our participants are are participating through the YouTube live streaming, so okay pa tayo sa bagay na yan. Number two reminder, please ensure that your screen shows at all times the slides and videos being presented by our resource persons. Also, if you have some ideas or thoughts, or you want to share your questions, you want to give your questions, please type them in our message boxes or in the chat box, and this will be addressed to shortly by our regional office personnel. In doing so, please practice collegial exchange of ideas. Also, for our participants, please be ready with your downloaded materials because you will be needing them during the hands-on exercise at the later part of this webinar. We're going to have a simulation later on and you will be needing those downloaded materials. The link for these materials are already posted at your group chats. Okay po? Now, for those who are sharing computers or mobile phones with their friends and colleagues in joining in this webinar, please be reminded po to still observe proper health protocols like the wearing of face masks and social distancing. Those who were able to log in early in this webinar, thank you very much po. If you still have some friends who were not able to log in or participate here, please advise them to log in now because in a few minutes, we're going to start our regional webinar. Also, a little advice, since this will be for 3 hours, more or less 3 hours, may I advise you to please find a comfortable chair or a conducive place or location in your offices in your houses so that you won't find it hard to participate in our webinar. If you want to have some snacks on standby beside you, you may do so po. Okay po. Um, may I also encourage everyone na wag munang aalis o wag munang mag-log out sa ating webinar after session 1 and session 2 because marami po tayong mga topics na pag-uusapan pa rin, especially on some updates regarding the timelines ng ating data collection system. This will be presented later on by our speakers. So please do not leave yet meet our webinar after the sessions or after 12 o'clock. Okay po, i-ready na lang po natin yung mga merienda natin or pagkain natin so that in case na we feel the need to have some snacks or foods, at least naka-ready lang po sila. Okay po? Also, please do not leave yet our webinar after the discussions of our resource persons because we are going to flash in our screens later on some reminders, especially on the links regarding the slides used in this webinar. We are going to share it with you po. So, standby lang po tayo sa mga links para magkaroon po kayo ng copy ng ating webinar afterwards. We are also going to distribute user guides for this data collection system ng ating IPCRF. This will be flashed on our screens later on. So, please standby lang po tayo. Also, we will be flashing on our screens yung link po for our attendance sheet and also for the evaluation form. Kailangan po nating mag-accomplish ng ating attendance and evaluation form because there's a proposal na makakatanggap po ang ating mga participants ng kanilang connectivity fee. Proposal pa lang naman po yon. Kung maaprubahan po, mabibigyan po tayo ng ating a little amount po for our internet connection po. Kapalit po ng ating internet connection kapag ma-approvean po yon. So please standby lang po sa ating link for our e-attendance and evaluation form. Also, the links for our RPMS 29, the links for our RPMS 2019-2020 materials will also be flashed on our screens later on. So you may write them down or you may screenshot po sa inyong mga computers or mobile phones. Para anytime po na kailangan natin yung mga yan, I'm sure you will be needing them later on, ready lang po and available ang ating mga links sa inyong harapan po. If you have further inquiries or questions later on, you may also address your inquiries sa email address through the email address of our regional office number 2. Ang kanilang email address po ay hrdd.region2@deped.gov.ph. Bago ko makalimutan mamaya, I would like to acknowledge our partners. Number 1, syempre ang Department of Education, Central Office and Region 2, and also the SDO Isabela. I would like also to acknowledge the Bureau of Human Resource and Organizational Development or BHROD, the RCTQ or the Philippine National Research Center for Teacher Quality, also the University of England based in Australia, and also the National Center for Science, ICT and Mathematics Education for Regional and Rural Australia. So we have the support po not only of the national government of the Philippines but also the government of Australia. Okay po. It's already 9:10 and saglit na lang po mag-start na po tayo. Ano po? Paki-encourage na rin po natin yung mga kasamahan natin na mag-join na, mag-log in, mag-participate na sa ating regional webinar po para masimulan po natin from the very beginning up to the last part of our regional webinar. Again, good morning and please stand by. Good morning po again, everyone, and welcome to a regional webinar on the IPCRF Data Collection System for school year 2019-2020. In a few moments, mag-i-start na po tayo sa ating webinar, so please stand by. While waiting for that, just a little reminder po, for those who are sharing computers or mobile phones with their friends and colleagues in participating in this webinar, please be reminded to still observe proper health protocols like the wearing of face masks and social distancing. Also, for our participants, please ensure that your screen shows at all times the slides or videos being presented by our resource persons. If you want to share your thoughts or ideas, or if you want to raise some questions, please type them in your message boxes or in chat boxes, and this will be addressed to shortly by our regional office personnel. Please practice collegial exchange of ideas. Also, for our participants still, be ready with your downloaded materials as this will be needed later on during the hands-on exercise or simulation part of this webinar. The link for you to download these materials is already available at your group chats. For those who were able to log in early, thank you very much. Please encourage your other colleagues and friends and coworkers to log in now because in a few moments, we're going to start the webinar. Also, since this webinar would be from 9 a.m. until 12 noon or around 12 noon, please find a place, a conducive place or a comfortable chair where you can stay during this webinar. Okay po? If you want to have some snacks or foods on standby beside you, you may do so na rin po. Please listen carefully because all our presentations are very helpful to you as ratees or raters in our IPCRF. And please, please, please do not leave our webinar before or after 12 o'clock po or until such time that we are done with our regional webinar. Huwag po kayong umalis kasi meron pa pong importanteng i-discuss ang ating mga resource persons, especially with the recent issuances from the central office. They will also be sharing some links regarding the timeline, the evaluation form, and then the attendance sheet. We need to fill in the attendance sheet and the evaluation forms for us to be able to distribute later on your certificates of participation. I believe po, ready na po tayo sa ating regional webinar. I'm sure ang makasama pa natin sa regional office number 2 are also ready. So, mag-i-start na po tayo. Again, good morning and welcome to the regional webinar on the IPCRF Data Collection System for school year 2019-2020. To start our program, may I encourage everyone to please stand up as we salute our flag for our national anthem. May I still encourage everyone to be silent and bow our heads for our short prayer. Dear God, thank you for all the blessings you have bestowed upon us. We are truly grateful for them. Thank you for allowing us today to meet and share our knowledge and time with one another in this webinar. May you extend your divine wisdom to our speakers so that they would be able to impart effectively their God given knowledge to all of us. May they be blessed as they continue to bring their expertise to people who need them. Bless the participants as well so that they would be able to glean the vital information from this activity. May you bestow your blessings after this webinar so that we may go out and spread what we learned in the spirit of your love and generosity. May we realize that this activity should glorify your name. Amen. Okay po. To start this to continue our program, we are presenting to you. Please look at your screens. We are presenting to you the webinar flow. We have 20 minutes we allotted 20 minutes for the preliminaries po. And then 40 minutes for our session 1 later on, and that is on the accomplishment of our IPCRF e-tool. Another 40 minutes for session 2, and that is on data submission and monitoring of IPCRF submissions. There would be question and answer portion of after our sessions later on. And then afterwards, we are going to allot 20 minutes for the ways forward and the wrapping up. So my friends, may we now welcome the officer in charge of the Schools Division Office of Isabela, Dr. Madeline L. Macaling, for her opening message.
Good morning, everyone. Foremost, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to the very down-to-earth regional director, Dr. Estela El Carino, who is always serving as an inspiration in this time of pandemic. I would like also to thank and congratulate the initiators of this webinar, the competent and super cool Chief of HRDD, Chief Jerry Sario, together with our very accommodating education program supervisor, Sir Liberato T. Umangay Jr. I would like also to extend my sincerest thanks and congratulations to the SGOD team headed by the effective chief, Sir Jesus Antonio, together with the brilliant and super cool senior education program specialist, Ma'am Larissa Nano. Truly, this is a breakthrough webinar because despite the situation today, we are being guided on the new updates of IPCRF as well as the new normal education, both for our safety and professional growth. IPCRF stands for I, an inspiration. Because as teachers, we are always serving as an inspiration for our learners. And this IPCRF, this is our own, serves as your Bible and direction in performing your duties and responsibilities. As educational facilitators and mentors, you are playing a great role in transforming our children to become critical thinker, effective communicator, effective collaborator, creative and holistic individuals. Their transformation and possession of 21st century learning skills and lifelong learning skills lies on your hands, dear teachers. Hence, your IPCRF is indeed very important. It is the blueprint of your mission in shaping our learners to become productive citizens of our society. P stands for passion. Your passion is an instrument in the realization of your objectives for our learners. If you have the heart for the learners, you will be able to nurture them the way you wanted them to become in the future, and you will be able to harness their potentials for their family, for the community, whatever the situation is. C stands for commitment. In this time of pandemic, education must continue, and you are our frontliners, dear teachers. Your commitment, coupled with the compassion, will surely reach a long way for the learners. Whatever the learning modalities, I'm sure you can cope with them. You can still make a difference. And R stands for resourcefulness and your resiliency. Let's give our learners authentic learning and authentic assessment that will help them apply in a real-life situation, that will serve as their weapons in facing a more challenging endeavor. The new normal of education is indeed very challenging, but I know that we will overcome all of this through engaging our external stakeholders. We have experienced and survived a lot of trials in the past, and I'm sure we can survive this again through your resiliency and resourcefulness. And F stands for faith. Let's strengthen our faith. This is a free yet effective antidote of challenges that we are facing today. Let's all be optimistic so that our positive thinking will influence our community to accept and love the new normal. Live well, love much, laugh often. Let's pray for one another so that we will overcome these trials. Sa SDO Isabela, walang maiiwan. Together, we recover as one. God bless everyone.
Thank you very much po from Ma'am Madeline for that very inspiring message. Next in our webinar, I'm privileged to present to you the participants in today's webinar. For today, we have the participants from Legislative 4 and Legislative 5 of SDO Isabela. These are the participants from Cordon North, Cordon South, San Agustin, Jones East, Jones West. Also from District 5, we have Aurora, Burgos, Luna, Malig, Quezon, Quirino, Roas East, and Roas West, and also San Manuel District. Our participants are the public schools district supervisors or the districts in charge. We also have the raters, our school heads, school principals, head teachers, the teachers in charge, and also our master teachers. We also open this webinar to all the teachers 1, 2, and 3. And also this also open for our district ICT coordinators and our school ICT officers. Also, aside from them, I would like to acknowledge also our participants from the other legislative districts of Isabela and also our participants from the other divisions here in Region 2. So welcome po sa inyong lahat, and I hope you will be with us all throughout this third day of our regional webinar for SDO Isabela. I am also honored to present to you the resource persons for today. One is Sir Jerry B. Sario Jr., the Chief Education Supervisor of the Human Resource Development Division of DepEd Regional Office Number 2 in Tuguegarao City. Also, we have Dr. Jesus D. Antonio, the Chief Education Supervisor and also Chief of the School Governance and Operations Division in SDO Isabela. And also, we have Sir Liberato T. Umangay Jr., an education program supervisor in HRDD DepEd Region 2. For your moderator today, I am El Mundo Bag, an education program specialist 2 for Human Resource Development section of SDO Isabela. Ma'am Larissa Nano, our senior education program specialist, who is supposed to be my companion today, sends her regret not to be able to make it. Something came up at the office and she was asked to attend to it urgently. So please bear with me. Please bear with just me. Okay po? For the next part, may we now listen to the message of our regional director, Dr. Estela L. Carino.
I hope the first week of enrollment was done well and you didn't have any problem on it. It's good that this time you are undergoing this kind of training, so and through webinar, so that you will already know what you will be doing when you will be having your own classes. I can see here on screen some course camera are open and I can see what you are doing. So when you open your camera and everyone sees you, see to it that your attention is on the training. A while ago, while the, am I clear, Jerry? Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am. Clear po.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Jerry. A while ago, while the Pambansang Awit is being played, the others whose camera is open, I can also see what they are doing. I would just like to remind you, and this is already part of the new normal, that when you're attending a training online, as if you are attending it face-to-face. So we still follow all the protocol that if the Pambansang Awit is being played, then we still show the same respect. So we stand and then put our hands on the our breast. I don't know, as I said, maybe for some, this is your first time, but for some, you have seen it. Again, you have to see to it that you follow the protocol. Right now, somebody is trying to or put a presentation on screen. Also, so I hope in a while all the protocols on training will be given to you, and you'll be able to get through it. Really, it is not it's not easy, but as I said, this is where we are going. This is what we call the 21st century learning, the fourth industrial revolution, that even if you do not see the speaker, your ears will have to listen. And that is what your learners will be doing when you will be the one teaching them come when classes will begin. But nevertheless, as I said, it's always best to do it, to practice it, so that you will get used to it. And I'm happy, nababawasan, nag-i-increase to 50 na uli, naging to 49. I don't know, maybe nawalan sila ng connection. So these are problems which we will be expecting also when we will be having classes. And this gives us now, it gives us a signal or a picture of what reality can bring. So right now, actually, what you're experiencing, I hope you will be considering this when you will be finalizing your own learning schedules, learning continuity plan in your own school later. I understand this is a mix of teachers and school head. I heard a while ago that the school heads are also should also be invited, and I see some names. And because this is really important, so it says here your training is on accomplishing the electronic individual performance commitment or IPCRF, and then how you will be submitting it online, and then how it will be monitored. And I hope with the number of hours that you will be trained, now it says here 9 to 11, but since you started today, and since this is free, I hope you can still extend, Jerry, so that all questions will be answered. So I always wish that for teachers, if you are not really sure, or you don't you're not expert of how you do this, you practice, you ask help, you ask for technical assistance instead of complaining, instead of saying bakit kasi online, bakit kasi hindi face to face. We have to accept the reality. And as we always say, the fourth industrial revolution really is into this kind of learning, this kind of training. So we should not be left behind. Anyway, as I said, practice makes perfect. It's only an acceptance that this is it. So instead of complaining, we just follow. And then we will find out that actually it's easier. It's easier. That I know that for some of you, you are just in your homes, without necessarily going to the venue. So while probably this is giving you a little discomfort, like thinking of if your internet will be cut, but it's also giving you a comfort, because before you have to catch up with the bus, catch up with the ride, go to the NEAP, and so on and so forth, pack your things, leave your children. But now, you are on training. And as I said, some of you might be in your own homes already. So there is discomfort, but there is also comfort. And this is how we should be embracing the new normal. So again, congratulations to all of you who are joining. Naging 250 uli. And for those who are not able to join, maybe because of their weak internet connection, I hope they will still have a chance to join. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank you and congratulate you for the things you have done during the enrollment. And I appeal to you, let us help each other. We are in the department and we should be supporting each other. We know that there are negative comments on why do we have to have classes, but we should not join them. Instead, we should patiently encourage as well as explain to them that, as I told you, like now, actually, while there is discomfort, there is also nice things happening when it comes to online training. So it's the same when it comes to online learning to our students. We just have to patiently explain to them. And I thank also HRDD through the leadership of Jerry for bringing you this so that there should be no problem on the filling up of your IPCRF. And I hope there should be no questions being sent to central office because you have already expert resource speakers. So if ever after this training you are not yet sure of what to do, please feel free to text them, to message them so that you will be given the technical assistance. Once again, on behalf of the department, thank you for your sacrifices, and let's be together in seeing to it that we'll be able to deliver continuous education amidst this COVID-19 pandemic. I love you, and please stay healthy. We heal as one. Bye-bye.
Thank you rin po, Madam Estela El Carino, our Regional Director, for your message. And we love you din po. And we also would like to thank you for sharing with us your observations from the earlier part of our webinar. So in relation to her observations, may I remind once again our participants for these activity norms and rules. Number one, please set to mute your microphone and video at all throughout the webinar. Number two, please ensure that your screen shows at all times the slides and videos being presented by our resource persons. Number three, if you have some questions or if you want to share your ideas or thoughts, you may type them in our message boxes, and please practice collegial exchange of ideas. Also, please be ready with your downloaded materials as they will be needed later on during this hands-on exercise or the simulation part of our webinar. The link for you to download these materials is already posted at your group chats. And for those who are sharing computers or mobile phones with their colleagues, with their coworkers, with their friends, in participating in this webinar, still please observe proper health protocols, wear your face mask, and also observe social distancing. Okay po, maraming salamat po. For those who are already participating in the seminar, in this webinar, thank you. If you still have some coworkers who are not yet logged in, please advise them to participate now. Ano po? Maraming salamat po. Now, for our activity rationale, this will be presented to us by Sir Jerry B. Sario Jr., the Chief Education Supervisor of HRDD Region 2. Sir Jerry?
Thank you, Sir Elmo, the very energetic and competent moderator for today's webinar. So to everyone, good morning po. It's our pleasure to meet you or see you virtually. This is our first webinar to be spearheaded by the Human Resource Development Division. And I would like to formally welcome LD, I think 4 and 5, no? Before I start my presentation, I'd like to first thank our two dynamic leaders. We have RD Estela Carino and SDS Madeline Macaling for gracing this occasion. So may ikukwento lang po ako na konti regarding our experience because for your information, this is already our 15 runs. And this is the foreleg for SDO Isabela, as mentioned earlier by Sir Elmo. And you know, for every run, we encountered several yet similar issues and concerns like internet signal, lost connection, and issue on depth-ed email account. But the most pressing issue so far that the team have encountered, and this is very challenging on our part as facilitators, ay yung mga participant na nagli-live during the webinar, no? So you are being monitored or you are being seen when you will be leaving the webinar session. Also, yung mga participants na ayaw mag-mute ng kanilang audio. And also, yung mga participants, as mentioned by RD, no, yung mga umaagaw ng presentation kasi they are trying to present something. So, maybe this is out of curiosity, no? Kaya siguro kinakalikot natin yung features ng ating Google Meet. But as you attend this webinar, aside from, of course, acquiring the basic and necessary knowledge and skills, we are also trying to immerse you on the use of the different online modalities or platforms. Because as a leader, whether you are a PSDS, a school head, a department head, a master teacher, or teacher for that matter, you should be ICT literate for you to be called 21st century leader. For today, before we proceed to our main topic about the IPCRF data collection, I would like to share this session with you to explain what will happen now to the performance management system of the Department of Education given the new normal. As we transition and as we adapt to the post-quarantine scenario, I'd like to give you a little bit of context, and we expect also that being in the HR, we should be at the forefront of providing and ensuring that our delivery of service will still continue despite some limitations. There are things that basically we know in our current situation and aspects that we don't know, something uncertain and ambiguous to us. For the things that we know, the virus is contagious. So alam po natin lahat yan. And easily transmitted. And therefore, it can be fatal. There is no available vaccine right now. Therefore, whatever situation we are in, whether we are in GCQ or ECQ, strict physical distancing will still be our new norm. And there would be like limited movement of people depending on the restriction or quarantine restriction in our respective locality. So our movement during this pandemic is dependent on the local and national IATF guidelines, or it is based on the prevailing community quarantine classification in our locality. Hence, uh, mass gathering will be limited, like face-to-face, convergence, workshop, symposium, until such time that the government will tell us it's okay for us to go back to the new normal. So families and workers, especially our counterpart or constituents, no, worry much about their occupation and of course their daily expenses. On the other side, these are the things that we are also uncertain. We don't know also when is the vaccine will be developed and made available to the public. We also don't know if we can achieve immunity once the vaccine is being developed. For example, will it serve as blockers for us to get that virus once the vaccine will be available? The possibility also of serious community quarantine will be lifted. So the government keeps on reminding us that even though we are in GCQ, there will be chance that there will be possible outbreak. In fact, in some parts of the country, no, may mga spike po tayo in terms of the number of cases. Nung nag-transition sila from ECQ to GCQ, na-observe natin that there were spikes actually, no, that are happening in those areas. Also, we don't know how safe we will be when we go out or return to work after post-quarantine. That's why our officials, no, particularly in the Department of Education, are taking into consideration the employees or teachers returning to work in ensuring that they are wearing face masks in our offices. Part of our protocol, yung taking of body temperature and setting up of sanitation stations. This is for the protection of both the government workers and the citizens transacting inside our offices. And I hope that you are doing this in your respective schools also. So that is our context, the things that we know and we don't know currently. In my next slide, these are also several anticipated new normal scenarios. On your left side, these are the new changes, and as a response to these new changes are those at your right side. And these are the possibilities that could happen, no? And actually, these are happening now. Adoption of alternative work arrangements, wherein there is a possibility that some of us will be working from home, just like this one. No, we are working from home, or we are on a virtual meeting, and the possibility also of adoption of staggered working hours or the adoption of the skeleton workforce or 4-day compressed work week. So we are into this until such time that the quarantine will be lifted or there will be new issuance on this. So looking at the legal basis, no, nakapaloob po ito sa ating CSC Memorandum Number 10, Series of 2020, that agencies may adopt alternative working arrangements in view of COVID-19 situation. Stringent physical distancing also is required, therefore less face-to-face interaction. And since our modality had changed from conventional learning environment to remote or distance learning, online platforms and tools should be in place, especially in the workplace. And as far as employees adapting and adjusting into the new norm, there are also new standards for working at home. And given that there will be possible new ways also kung paano natin i-assess yung performance ng mga empleyado na nagtatrabaho at home, no? Next is the rise of work disruptions also, especially for those working at home. No, ang daming pwedeng disruptions while you are at home working. Imagine now that technically we are working at home amidst this crisis. And as far as HR is concerned, we would like to mitigate the possible rise of work disruptions. One very critical intervention in here is the upskilling of technology, no? And so when we speak of technology, we mean both the IT infrastructure and the soft skills, no? So when we say soft skills, these are new sets of skills our employees need. For example, how to use Google Meet, how to use MS Teams, how to use Zoom, and other communication or online platforms. So this gathering will basically focus on how we adapt into the new normal in terms of consolidating our performance rating. The next few series of slides are actually giving you an idea for our HR focal persons in the schools, even in the division office, no? So we see this as a sort of tips and also in anticipation of what will be the changes that will brought about by the new normal in terms of one of our HR systems, which is performance management. In operationalizing it, what is now the work arrangement of our employees or teachers? How do we now assess their performance, and how do we make sure that they are still productive despite these limitations? So the three bubbles are actually the three things that we see in order for us to effectively manage our employees. First is to engage our employees in the process of navigating through the new normal. So we see in here that we need to also value individual journey on adapting to the new normal. Because while we see or while we all experience this new normal, the way we react and the way we respond to the new normal depends on our individual disposition, and of course, it depends on our life context. Therefore, we need to see and value the individual journey not only as a person but at the same time as an employee. Again, as an HR, we should be at the forefront of making sure that our offices within the schools divisions, no, or even at the school level should at least create or craft their own service continuity plan. I know for sure that your schools divisions, no, or schools division office had already crafted its learning continuity plan, and that's good because when you craft your school learning continuity plan, you have something to where you anchor your learning continuity plan. But as an office, I would just like to emphasize, or school, it is critical that we also have to craft our own learning continuity plan. For example, we need to identify what services can be done online, even at the school level, and we need to also identify what services can be done face to face, of course, with limitations. Second, we also need to design the floor plan of our offices or the workflow or procedures not to capture those employees working at home in view of the new normal. And also in consideration of putting up some protective barriers within our offices to observe the protocol on social distancing. And at the same time, ensuring that the delivery of services and also giving consideration, this is very important, no, to the human aspect of the organization in ensuring their health and safety. The next bubble where HR should be in the forefront also because this is critical as of now as we transition to the new normal is focused on setting up mechanism, protocol on the new standards of working. Critical in here under this aspect, no, yung leadership adaptiveness of our leaders. Your leaders in the SGOD, in the CID, and aside from the instructions you are receiving from your SDS and ASDS. So our leaders' adaptiveness under this bubble, no, are very critical or is very critical. Therefore, we need to redefine the work standards for working at home or working in the office, having some skeleton workforce, for example, or any kind of alternative work arrangements. Leaders should now be assessing also more on leaning towards output based. So if you are the leader, whether you are in the school or in the division, or if you are the head of the office, basically your assessment now would be will you be assessing faster response over a better response or longer days in the office over a productive days. So that's how we redefine work standards in the new normal. Also, while we do not see each other, although we are seeing each other virtually, no, the micromanaging technically will not work under the new normal. So again, as a leader, during this new normal, you allow your teachers or employee some sort of independence to do their own. But again, as a leader, you need to set norms and rules in terms of how our employees will deliver their output. It is also essential for our HR managers, no, to have a clear understanding of about what tools or platforms to be used by the team in terms of checking attendance and at the same time guiding them, no, as to what are the deliverables for the week. So ang magandang tool dito yung work from home planner. So these are some of the tools, no? And team tracking and monitoring is also very critical from our end as a leader. Just like in the regional office, I think every week, no, we are asked to make our parang plan, work plan to be delivered sa succeeding week, no? And what are the expected deliverables uh, from every employee and expected output, no, for the week. And then at the end of the month, we are asked to submit our accomplishments aligned doon sa work plan na ginawa po namin. So whether that is a continuing task or a new deliverable. In terms of managing performance also in the new normal, it will be more output based, no? But while we are maybe on this work arrangements, no, we also need to, we will make sure that we will maintain quality output. So it is critical in here yung pag-monitor natin ng performance ng ating mga employees in the new normal. So while we are on alternative work arrangements, no, in the Department of Education, we are also expected to make ourselves available during working hours and to maximize the time spent in the discharge of our duties and responsibilities. My last slide in managing performance in the new normal is about the provision of support. This is also essential in ensuring employee will still be productive. And while we establish and clarify work processes or procedures and expectations in the new normal, these are also essential for our HR and managers, no, like our functional division chiefs, our school heads, our PSDS, no, the protection of employee mental health and well-being. So especially this time. So as a leader, whether you are a PSDS, school head, or a leader in the school's division office, look for an area where teachers can vent out their worries and issues. And not necessarily you resolving their worries, but you are there to somehow guiding them. So this is primary essential as being emphasized by our secretary in ensuring the safety and health of our personnel despite our move to deliver the expected services that our counterpart or constituents expect from us. So we encourage you to provide and do the necessary intervention or learning session to your teachers about COVID-19, how to cope with some anxiety or stress, and then trying to lift their spiritual and emotional well-being. And in doing so, this will somehow give them comfort. You can also conduct mental health check, even in chat groups, kumustahan activities, as simple as that intervention, but somehow will bring back solidarity among our teachers as they return to their work. So basically, these are support mechanisms such as health or psychosocial intervention, provision of personal protective equipment, no, uh, should be made available to our teachers. Another one, the protection of employee, that is no, yung pinaka-importante rin. So this is primary essential also, as mentioned by the secretary. Another very important is yung coaching and mentoring remotely. No? Uh, Coaching and mentoring remotely, as simple as a simple one-on-one video chat on how the person is coping with and how things and deliverables in their plate can be delivered. Another one is the upskilling of technology. Na-mention ko to kanina. Because even our learning and development intervention delivery will now be transitioning to the new normal also. So wala nang face-to-face, or kung meron man, on a minor chance only with the observance of social distancing. Therefore, what is very much important that we need to prioritize right now is yung IT infrastructure and the acquisition of the new soft skills, sets of soft skills. And while we are in virtual teams also, yung culture of collaboration should not be lost, no? But while we are introducing virtual or online, this should be more intensified from our end. So given those things, and if you see technically performance management, parehas lang, no? It is still the same. Yung mga basic essentials ay nandoon din. Just that the delivery and the mode of doing performance management this time will now be through online or virtual. So ito yung nakikita natin ngayon during this pandemic or as we adapt into the new normal. So as we move to our main agenda, the objective of this activity is to prepare you, teachers, raters, and other DepEd personnel who are involved in RPMS in implementing the phase 3 of the RPMS cycle for SY 2019 to 2020 amid the COVID-19 situation and while we are transitioning to the new normal. And as mentioned by RD Estela in her opening message, we want this tool or system to become easy for our teachers, no? That they will take it light and easy and not for them to say this is additional work or additional burden. So this is where my presentation ends and I hope you learned from something from this session. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you po, Sir Jerry, for explaining to us the rationale of today's webinar. To immerse us further into the objectives of this webinar, may we please listen to Dr. Jesus De Antonio, the Chief of School Governance and Operations Division in SDO Isabela. Sir Jess, please.
Hello, good morning po sa ating lahat. So, this is our third leg of this regional webinar on the IPCRF data gathering collection system for SY 2019-2020. And before I will continue what Sir Jerry started a while ago, may I just want to greet everyone who are now already joining this webinar. And special mention to our inspiring Regional Director, Ma'am Estela Carino, for her message while ago, together with our very own Empowering Schools Division Superintendent, Ma'am Madeline L. Macaling. Likewise to our very supportive and accommodating Chief of the HRDD, Sir Jerry. And very cool kasi talagang nakikinig po tayo sa kanya kanina. Of course, the equally intelligent EPS of HRDD, Sir Liberato, andyan po. And our counterpart in the SDO Isabela, we also with us today, Sir Elmo, kasi si Ma'am Larissa may other important activity to uh, take this day. And so part of the webinar today, I just want to continue the objectives that was initially discussed by Sir Jerry, wherein this webinar is a way for us to prepare our teachers, our raters, our DepEd personnel who are in charge and who are the support staff in um, coming up with this result-based performance management system of our teachers, particularly on the phase 3 of our RPMS cycle as stipulated in DepEd Order number 2 series of 2015. Hindi po naman tayo lumalayo doon. And so, we also would like to continue the objectives that we are doing this amid the COVID-19 situation while we are now shifting or transforming to the new normal as Sir Jerry have already discussed and given us the important information as regards the new normal that we are now doing. So, more particular, we will be having this accomplishing of the electronic individual performance commitment and review form, which will be discussed in a more detailed discussion and in a um, more in-depth discussion so that we will really understand fully kung ano yung dapat natin gawin. And so we also consider not only for the accomplishing or encoding, but we will also consider the submission of this IPCRF of teachers via online because this is already the new normal that we will be going to do. Likewise, aside from this, we shall be also tackling the process or the procedure on how to monitor the submission of the IPCRF of teachers via online. And so it is really part of the role of our support staff, our IT, kasama din po natin ngayon, including si Sir John Michael Carag of the Regional Office. And in the previous uh, webinar of other areas, kasama din po natin ang ating IT, Division IT Officer. So, more particular, may we request the next slide, please. Sir, next slide. Okay, more particular, this webinar will be done through the accomplishment or they will assist us. Our very competent speakers will assist us on how to accomplish the electronic IPCRF for school year 2019-2020. And as I mentioned well ago, it is also a way for us to learn how to submit this electronic IPCRF of teachers in the different level of governance based on the system that they will be presenting later on. And as I've mentioned, it is also a way so that we could understand on how we will monitor the submission of this electronic IPCRF of pictures, be it in the school, in the division, in the regional level, and even in the central office, as the case of the governance may be. So as we can see, it is really the procedure that we will be doing in on the specific platform on the data collection that we will be implementing on the schedules that they will be given. Okay, next po. Next slide, sir. Okay. So it is also expected that after this 3 or 4 hours webinar, then we will be abreast. We will now be acquainted of what we will be going to do in terms of data collection. And as we can see on the screen, we have these um, two diagrams wherein it was already been done during the data collection system for SY 2018-2019 as Sir Elmo started discussing while ago before the formal start that there are a series of activities that we already done during the 2018-2019 in accomplishing or in collecting the data of the IPCR of teachers. And so a part of this, there is already the system that we already used during this for this school year. And of course, the schools, all the schools, the SDO and the regional office were fully involved also. Kasi it is collaboratively done on the process of the collection. And knowing that the result of this data collection that we had were used for training needs assessment. That's why this is very critical for us, especially not only in the division, in the region, and even in the central office on this matter. And of course, it is there is also an online platform that we had used. Kasi talagang the support of the IT is very necessary on this. And knowing that in the collection, we really find some issues and challenges that we met along the way as our way of looking things to be improved for the next for this year. That's why we are here today to have this IPCRF data collection for 2019-2020, and still it is used macro-enabled Excel based to collect the IPCR of pictures. I think it will be more updated and upgraded. So with this that we had last year, now we will going to learn more, to be oriented on what do we do for the data collection for SY 2018-2019, wherein there will be updates. There is already an updates of the existing system, which was made more user friendly or even much easier to follow because of the enhancement that they made for the system. And so it is also in this webinar that we could also be oriented and aware of the specific roles and responsibilities of each DepEd personnel who are involved directly in this endeavor from the school, the SDO, and the regional office as well. That's why kayong lahat po gagalaw po dito. That's why we also have with us our PSDSS, our district in charge, our um, principals, school heads, our head teachers, master teachers, and the teachers, because we will move as one for this undertaking. And as we have mentioned, that we will also want to know, we will also expect to know how does this new system adapt the new normal. As Sir Jerry have mentioned a while ago, he discussed, no, that the shifting to the new normal. So these are the some of the expectations that we need, and of course, we will also know how can we utilize the result efficiently. As being mentioned a while ago, this is a way for us to gather the information, the critical information for us for the continuous professional development of our teachers. And of course, the tool, the very important one is the tool or the platform that we will be using in order to capture what is really the needed data that we will get from our teachers based on their IPCRF. So lastly, the revised timelines in relation to the COVID-19 situation will also be presented to us in the later part because this is very important. We do hope that we will take note all those dates, the timelines that they will be presenting later on, so that we are really aligned dun sa mga gagawin natin, and we will not be left behind, so that we will accomplish the same as uh, set based on the timelines. Next po. Now, we will further give you the rationale for the RPMS data collection system. Knowing that this data is very crucial for all of us, we do know that we really know that this data that we will be collecting will be in support to the continuous professional development of teachers based on the Philippine Professional Standard for teachers. And of course, through the support of the BSROD, this is to establish the baseline data of teachers' proficiency level on the first PPST indicators, including the succeeding indicators as well. So yan po yung mga kailangan natin. Of course, for in the case of the schools, we also need to submit this RPMS of teachers, considering that the IPCRF are also required for us to submit in compliance with DepEd Order number 2, series of 2015. And we are now in the third part. There is also a need for us to establish a system that will enable collection and submission of RPMS data across governance level. Because knowing that our department is so big, that's why our department, our central office, regional office, are doing things much easier for us, and so they established a system so that we could get accurate and timely data for our RPMS for professional development. So our departments also issued a memorandum dated April 18, 2020 on that is DepEd Memorandum number 45 on the Result-Based Management Information System Guidelines for school year 2019-2020 year-end activities in light of COVID-19 measures. So this is in line with the new normal that we are now and the pandemic that we are now experiencing. And so part of this, there are sample computations and sample adjustments that we will be using in determining the level of our teachers in line with the different competencies in the PPST. And so part of this, because we are looking on the quality, efficiency, and timeliness, first thing is we just want to share to you the diagram, the sample computation for quality rating in the RPMS Objective 1. As you can see in the screen, we need to have this classroom observation period at least 4. But because of the pandemic, I think the fourth one did not realize, considering that the quarantine started last March. So as you can see, makikita po natin dito sa example dito that it is only considered the 3 rating period which will be computed. So instead of divided by 4, divided by 3 na lang po for the average, so that it will also, we can also still measure the quality of the rating of our teachers. So in this, both the quality and efficiency shall be recorded in the IPCRF for teachers using the proficient tool that we will be using. In the same manner, next po. Next, sir. Okay. In the same manner, we also would like to share with you the recalibration of the other aspect in terms of the efficiency of our teachers in line uh, with the MOVs and the rubrics that we are having. From the original, if you try to look at the slides, um, from the rubrics of 1 to 5, there are corresponding MOVs that we need to show to them, but because of the COVID-19 pandemic, then there is a way for us to also modify or recalibrate our rubric so that it will also fit to our teachers, and it will also measure the performance of our teachers. From here, as you can see, it was adjusted the corresponding data or corresponding MOVs that they will need to submit based on the recalibrated rubrics that we presented as sample. And so teachers are encouraged to explore the list of possible MOVs for non-classroom observable RPMS objectives and provide whichever are available at hand that they may still obtain acceptable results in quality, efficiency, and or timeliness. So later on, our good speakers will also show to you some of the MOVs that are also needed in line with the rating of our RPA or IPCR of our teachers. So lastly, we would like to give you some of the updates of the ABH or OD, wherein we need to download the prescribed electronic IPCRF for SY 2019-2020 as being mentioned by Sel Elmo a while ago, so that this will be our official uh, electronic copy for the IPCRF using the link listed below. And in the event that you already downloaded, please make sure that that downloaded copy was downloaded after May 4, because there are changes that have been made uh, in the file that they will be using, or we will be using. And based on the DepEd Order number 45 series of 2020, the electronic IPCRF file is available for downloading as mentioned while ago, but the postponement of RPMS year-end review for school-based management is still in effect based on the uh, DepEd Order until such time that safety for all DepEd employees is declared. But now we will now going through with the timelines that our good speakers, Sir Lieber and Sir Jerry, will be presenting while ago. And so, with this, thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for your time, and we appreciate our counterpart in the regional office, Sir Jerry from the RDD, Sir Liber, and all other members of the regional team, together with our counterpart in the division, Sir Elmo, and of course, Ma'am Isay, our superintendent, Ma'am Madel, Sir Dante, and Ma'am Edna. With this, thank you very much, school heads, PSDS, for listening. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat.
Thank you po, Sir Jess, for that comprehensive explanation on the objectives of this webinar. Now, my friends, mga kapuso, kapamilya, kapatid, kaibigan, kasama, ka-DepEd, I hope you are still with us as we now proceed to the first session of this webinar. And this is on how to accomplish the IPCRF e-tool. I'm proud to present to you our resource person, the Chief of HRDD himself. I think he is the youngest chief in the region, Sir Jerry B. Sario Jr. Sir Jerry?
Thank you, Sir Elmo. So I'm back. So I'm back. Good morning once again. And this time I'll be walking you through the IPCRF electronic tool for school year 2019 to 2020. But before I show you how to use the IPCRF e-tool, let me tell you about a little bit about the tool. So the tool is a Microsoft Excel macro-enabled workbook file with the .xlsm file extension designed for offline use. It contains printable templates for the IPCRF parts 1 to 4, as well as an encoding form that collects data for COT and IPCRF QET ratings, and of course, data for core behavioral competencies. So who will be using this tool? In the slide, there are two types of users of the tool, the school head who is the rater and the teacher who is the ratee. For purposes of this presentation, I'll simplify the flowchart, taking out all the steps that don't necessarily involve the electronic tool while still following the procedures we set. So first, the rater downloads the IPCRF electronic tool. And after downloading, encodes the ratee's data, then encodes COT and QET ratings. And at this point, the rater hands the electronic tool to the ratee who encodes parts 2 and 4. Then the ratee gives the file back to the rater after encoding parts 2 and 4. For step 5, the school head submits the file online. So we've just identified 5 major steps, each involving several activities. We'll discuss each step in the process except for the submission, which will be discussed in a different session. So let's begin with downloading. First, let's slip into the role of the rater. And here are the activities involved for step 1, download and extract. The first thing we must do as a rater is to download a copy of the new IPCRF electronic tool. Keep in mind that the version that you may have been given during the National RPMS PPST capacity building should no longer be used. The submission system will not accept them. And if you have obtained a copy of the tool recently, ensure you have the version with the proficient tool that has automatic ratings of 5 in Objective 10. And this was initially discussed by Sir Jess in his slide a while ago. And details of this can be found in DM number 45, series of 2020. Any version other than this is no longer valid. So the question now is, where does one download the tool? You can find the tool by opening this link, which takes you to a Google Drive folder. In there, you will find a zip file named DepEd Prescribed IPCRF Parts 1 to 4 SY 2019-2020. Simply right-click on the file and click Download. When you have downloaded the zip file, you must then extract the Excel file inside it. It is important that you remember, and I recommend you emphasize this when you cascade to your teachers, that you should not open the IPCRF tool or IPCRF Excel tool without first extracting it. In the past, some users have complained that they cannot edit or save the Excel tool, or that the data they encoded is lost after saving and closing Excel. That was probably due to this misstep. In Windows, it is easy to identify a zip file. These three icons are examples of how it looks like. The first one is when you do not have a file compression software installed, such as WinRAR or 7-zip. The default icon in Windows is a folder with a zipper. In some cases, the file may look like the last two icons, a stack of books bundled together with a belt. To extract a file in Windows, assuming you do not have a compression software installed, there are generally two methods. I'll quickly show you how to do it using the two methods so it's clear to everybody, as well offer you suggestions of how you can cascade this to your teachers later on. So the first one is to right-click on the file. Then click Extract All. This opens the default extraction tool in Windows. Simply select the destination or leave it as is and click the Extract button. This will create a new Excel file outside the zip. You can now open this Excel file. The second method is by opening or double-clicking the zip file. This does not open any other program or window. It opens in the same file explorer window and looks as if you've just opened a regular folder with a single Excel file in it. But again, do not be fooled. You are still inside the zip file. Notice the extract menu in pink at the top of the window, and this tells you the view is of a compressed folder. This is when some users make the mistake of opening the Excel file. I'll remind you again that you should not open the Excel file while still inside the zip. You must extract it first. And to do that, you can drag and drop the file into the desktop to create a copy of the tool. You can also copy and paste the file from here. Or you can click the Extract All menu, which is similar to method A that I showed you earlier. For Mac users, double-clicking or opening the zip file should automatically extract the Excel tool. Now that we have downloaded the IPCRF electronic tool, let's proceed to the second step, which is to encode the RATIS data. And here are the activities involved. First, open the Excel IPCRF tool, enabling editing, enable macros, encode schools data, encode raters data, make copies, and encode ratees data. To begin, we need to open the Excel file. When opening the IPCRF tool, here are a few things you need to remember. You must open it on a laptop, tablet, or desktop PC running Windows or Mac OS. You cannot open the tool by using any kind of mobile phone. Tablets running Android or Windows RT, the iPad or Chromebooks, and other laptops running Windows RT. In addition to the types of compatible devices, here is a list also of the programs and apps you can and cannot use to open the IPCRF electronic tool. You can open the tool using the desktop app of Microsoft Office Excel with the following versions. It's in your screen. Do not use the online or web version of Microsoft Excel because macros aren't supported. You also cannot use these programs. If you are on a Mac, do not open with Numbers or the older Office for Mac apps 2004, 2008, and 2011. Further, Google Sheets if you are using a Chromebook or any other Microsoft Office alternatives such as WPS, LibreOffice, or OpenOffice. Note that if you open the IPCRF tool with any of the apps in the don't column, in other words, not Excel, the tool is forever broken and you need to download a new copy. Again, it's important that you emphasize this when you cascade to your teachers, that there were cases reported that macros don't work. The reason it turned out was because they were not using Microsoft Excel. Now, if you're sure your device and your app are compatible, you can then open the tool. When the tool is opened, Excel automatically puts the file in protected view for security reasons. It does this for files downloaded from the internet. Notice the yellow bar that says protected view below the ribbon. You need to click the enable editing button so you can begin editing the file. Otherwise, it will remain disabled in protected view. On the Mac, it's more straightforward. Excel will greet you with a dialog box with an alert asking whether to enable or disable editing. Click Enable Editing, of course. After enabling editing, you also need to enable the macros which are disabled by default. Click the Enable Content button to allow macros, because failure to do so means that Excel won't be able to run the custom code that makes the IPCRF tool work. On the Mac, again, Excel will greet you with a dialog box with an alert asking whether to enable or disable macros. Click Enable Macros. In Windows, if you do not see the Enable Content button in the yellow bar below the ribbon, it does not necessarily mean that the macros are already enabled. After confirming that they are disabled, for example, when an error message is shown saying so after clicking a button, you need to perform this suggested workaround. In the ribbon, click the File menu. In the available options on the vertical panel to the left, find Options. It is usually at the bottom. Try to scroll down the vertical panel if you do not see the option. And when you see it, click it. This opens the Excel Options dialog box. And on the panel to the left, find and click the Trust Center option, usually found at the bottom of the list. In Trust Center, find and click the Trust Center Settings button. The Trust Center dialog box opens, and in the panel to the left, find and click the macro settings. Under the macro settings, click Enable All Macros. Ensure that the radio button for the Enable All Macros option is activated. Click the OK button and this closes the Trust Center dialog box and returns you to the Excel Options dialog box. Just click the OK button again. Close all Open Excel workbooks and reopen the IPCRF tool to apply the changes. Assuming you have enabled the macros, you should now be ready to encode the ratee and raters data into the form. But before that, I'd like to take a little detour. Let's look at the different parts of the tool so it makes sense to you when you encode your data. This Excel workbook has 4 usable tabs or sheets. You can usually find the sheets at the bottom of the Excel window. The electronic tool has the templates for all the parts of the IPCRF, each on its own tab. These are the part 1 to 4 tabs. But the first tab you will see when you open the tool is the Encoding tab. And here are the properties tab. It is editable because it contains the data collection form. It is also protected, which means you cannot modify this sheet. Only white cells are editable, and this form is also non-printable. For parts 1, 2, and 3, they all have the same properties. They are all not editable because all data that are needed for these forms are encoded in the Encoding tab. They are all protected and not editable and printable. The Part 4 tab is editable but also not protected. And this is to allow the users to make any necessary changes for crafting, development plans, and of course, this part is printable. Let's focus on the Encoding tab part 1. And just below, that is part 2. Let us go back to the top. Now let's proceed to the next step, which is encoding the school's data. Here is the part where you need to input the school information. First is region. Region field is a drop-down option with the following options available. In your case, click 2 Cagayan Valley. The second field is division, which is another drop-down box, which options depends on the selected region. Next is district or municipality. School ID, which only accepts 6 digits school ID from 100,000 to 699,999. Next is school name, and we recommend you input the complete and proper name of your school. Next is school type, and this is another drop-down option between urban and rural. Next is school size, which is a drop-down box for small, medium, large, or very large. And the last field for the school's information is the curricular classification. Here are the choices. Note that the choice you select in the curricular classification field will affect choices that will be available in the preceding parts of the tool, specifically level taught, grade level taught, and subject taught. Next we encode is the rater's data, which contains only 3 fields. First is the rater's name, and we recommend this format: last name, comma, first name, middle initial. Next field is the position, which is a drop-down option between these positions. And the last field is date of review, which accepts date from February 2020 onwards. At this point in time, this is not required. You only need to encode the date of review in finalizing part 1. After finishing encoding of the school's information and the rater's information, you need to save Excel workbook and then close it. What we have done so far is basically make template. Remember, the rater is doing this. Again, remember the rater is doing this. He or she must prepare all IPCRF files for each of the teachers where she will be rating. Suppose I need to prepare the IPCRF tool for one teacher. I will just duplicate the template that I created and then rename the duplicate to include the name of the ratee or the teacher that I will be rating. Then I will open that file. Now, don't forget to enable editing and enable macros from this step. You need to do that every time you open the IPCRF tool. Now we are proceeding to the next step, which is encoding the rate's data. Here are the fields that you need to accomplish. And as you can see, these are several fields. Let's begin with name of employee. Again, we recommend that you use the format that you use for the rater field. Last name, comma, first name, middle initial. Next, you select the position, which is a drop-down option between teachers 1 to 3, SPET 1 to 4, master teachers 1 to 4, or SPET 1 to 5, master teachers 1 to 4, and special science teacher 1 to 5. Remember that when you change the position or when you change the data for this field, it also changes the form. Example, if you select a position that uses a proficient form, part 1 for this tool changes accordingly. If you select, for example, master teacher, the form will change into highly proficient form. And you will know that the form has changed by looking at the background color. It will turn green for the proficient form and blue for the highly proficient form. Next is the employee ID number. Employment status, which is a drop-down option. We have the age and sex, which are also drop-down options. Next is level taught. The options available here will depend on the selected curricular classification under the school's information. As I mentioned earlier, whenever you selected the curricular classification would determine the options that will be available here. Example, if I selected kinder curriculum classification, kindergarten to grade 6, the options that will be available here will be kindergarten and elementary. If, however, I chose kindergarten to grade 10 in the curricular classification, the options that will be available in the level taught field will be kindergarten, elementary, junior high school, and so on. Next is grade level taught. This option depends again on the selected level taught. For example, if I selected elementary in the grade level taught, the options that will be available here will be kindergarten to grade 6. If I chose junior high school, the options that will be available here will be grade 7 to grade 10 and so on. And if you selected ALS in the subject taught field, which is the next field, the grade level taught will be disabled. Next is subject taught, which is a drop-down list of all the subjects. This field changes to strand if you selected senior high school in level taught. For the elementary group, how about kindergarten under COT? When in fact, for kindergarten, there's no specific subject. The answer is that under subject taught, select all subject, but under the column COT, where you place the rating which required a specific or which require a specific subject, select the discipline from the available options directly related to the subject taught in COT. And this instruction also applies to kinder, SPED, and senior high school. Then we have number of years in teaching. Highest degree obtained and area of specialization, which are all drop-down options. We now have completed step 2. Let's proceed to the next step, which is encoding part 1 COT and IPCRF QET ratings. And here are the activities involved. COT ratings, QET ratings, and then finalize part 1. So here, let us go back to the encoding tab. Let's look at part 1. Below the rates information, we have 4 COT columns. Let's focus on the first one. At the beginning, all COT columns are disabled except for COT1, where you will know that this is enabled because we have a cell at the top that is colored white. This allows you to select a drop-down option from among the identified subjects. Once you select the subject, the rating will be enabled. Again, you will confirm that the column or the cells are enabled because they have turned white. For the proficient form, this column will accept values from 3 to 7. For the highly proficient form, it will accept values from 4 to 8. The second column, the PMS 5-point scale, will automatically populated based on the input on the rating. And after inputting the rating, you need to also input the date of observation at the bottom. And this field accepts dates beginning June 3, 2019 using this format. After entering the date of observation, the rater then clicks the lock COT1, which prompts the rater must enter a password. The rater will then nominate a password with minimum 6 characters. This password will be used later when locking other COT columns and finalizing part 1. It is important that the rater won't forget this. After confirming the password, the rater will click the Go button and this locks COT1 and enable COT2. A little reminder, COT columns are disabled until the previous COT has been locked. For example, when COT1 was locked, COT2 is enabled. In other words, you must input the COT ratings sequentially from COT1. We have COT2, COT3, and COT4. Note that COT columns are not required, meaning if you do not have data for a particular COT, you don't need to input them. Next, after finishing encoding of COT ratings, we then encode the QET ratings. Each at this part right here. Notice that we have some colored cells. You only need to input on the white cells. And these cells accepts whole numbers from 1 to 5. Input the ratings for QET columns. After that, we need to finalize part 1. And to do that, we must input the date of review back in the rater's information. As I've said earlier, this field is not required until finalizing part 1. After entering the date of review, input also the approving authority name and position and Sir Lever, in his slide later on, will show you who are these ratees, who will be the observers or raters, and who will be the approving authority depending on the size of the school and, of course, the size of the division. Then the rater will click Finalize Part 1 button, which prompts again for the ratee's password, which was previously set. Input the rater's password and click Go. And this locks Part 1. You will confirm that Part 1 has been finalized because the background color is turned red. At this point, the rater transfers the file to the ratee. So we have completed steps 1, 2, and 3. Now, let's discuss the last one, which is encoding of parts 2 and 4 by the ratee. And here are the activities involved. And let's begin with finalizing part 2. Back in the encoding tab, below the part 1 is the part 2 form. The ratee only need to tick on the boxes of the competency indicators where she or he demonstrated during the performance cycle. After ticking all the appropriate boxes, ratee will then click Finalize Part 2, which comes for a ratee's password. This is separate from the rater's password that was set by the rater earlier. This one, the ratee will think of a new password, and again, minimum of 6 characters. And this password will be used later in finalizing or unfinalizing parts 2 and 4. And after confirming password, the ratee will click on the Go button, which locks part 2. Again, you will confirm that part 2 has been locked or finalized because the background color has turned red. Finally, the ratee opens part 4 and encodes his or her development plans. And after encoding at the bottom, the ratee will click Finalize Part 4 button, which will again prompt for the ratee's password he or she set when finalizing Part 2. After inputting the ratee's password, click the Go button and that should lock Part 4. And that finishes all the steps we need to do in accomplishing the IPCRF electronic tool. For the next part, the ratee will give the file back to the rater or the school head for the online submission. And that ends my presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay, good morning to everyone. While waiting for Sir Elmo for the frequently asked questions, we would just like to tell you that please stay with us up to the last slide in such a way that we shall be able to understand each other and at the same time for you to know the updates given by the Department of Education as regards this EIPCRF accomplishment and of course the submission of SATs. So once again, we are telling you to please bear with us, stay with us, perhaps up to 12:30 past 12 for you to know the different updates, for you to be able to have the different updates given by the Department of Education. So this time, may we now have Sir Elmo for the frequently asked questions. Thank you. Sir Elmo, take it away.
Good morning po again. Sir Jerry, maraming salamat po sa inyong presentation for our session number 1. Now, in relation to what was just discussed by Sir Jerry, allow me to give you a run-through on the frequently asked questions on the accomplishment of the EIPCRF e-tool and their corresponding answers. These questions were raised by participants from previous webinar sessions on IPCRF data collection system. So let us proceed. Question number 1. As I start using the file, some features not working or some features seem not working properly. What can I do? The answer is ensure that you are using MS Office 2010 or newer. This was presented by Sir Jerry a while ago. Sabi niya, use the version 2013, 2016, or 2019 or the Microsoft 365. Also, another answer is you have to ensure that you have enabled all macros. Question number 2, who initiates the accomplishment of EIPCRF? Based on the protocol and as seen in the tool instructions, the rater answers part 1 of the encoding sheet, including the teacher, rater, region, division, and school demographics, COT and QET ratings also. To do this, open one file and start encoding the fields for region, division, school information, and these are found at the rightmost column of the demographics portion. Then, replicate the file into a number of copies. Edit the name of each file to include the name of the teacher. But given the current COVID-19 situation, the ratee may initiate the encoding of his or her demographic profile and the COT ratings. The rater consequently ensures that all information are recorded accurately during the ratee-rater conference. For our third question, the file is for proficient teachers only. Where is the file for highly proficient teachers? After downloading, the default file is for proficient teachers. However, selecting from the position field in part 1 of the encoding sheet shows the file or tool appropriate to the position selected. This means then that when you input your position as, let's say for example, Master Teacher 1, the tool will automatically adjust for highly proficient teachers. As a confirmation to this, the background color will then turn to blue. Next, question number 4. The drop-down options for level taught and grade level taught do not appear. What should I do? The answer is start by filling out the fields for region, division, school information. These are found at the rightmost column of the demographics portion, and particularly the curricular classification field. This was discussed earlier by Sir Jerry. Next question. I am a senior high school teacher. What option shall I choose for subject taught in the demographic field and in the subject for COT? The answer is select the discipline directly related to the SHS or senior high school subject you are teaching. Next question. What will I choose for school size? The answer is, and for the sole purpose of the IPCRF for school year 2019-2020, the school size parameters will adhere to the existing 2020 Brigada Escuela Implementing Guidelines or the DM32 series of 2020. As you can see in your screens, for elementary level, if the number of your teachers is 9 and below, you are considered or your school is considered a small school. If, however, the number is 10 up to 29, yours is a medium school. And then if you have 30 up to 50 teachers, you have a large school. And then if you have 51 or more teachers, your school is considered mega school or very large school. Also, for the secondary level, your school is a small school if there are 15 or below number of teachers. While if there are 16 or more, let's say 16 up to 30, your school is a medium school. If you have 31 up to 50 teachers, your school is large. And if you have more than 50, okay, or that is if you have 51 or more teachers, your school is considered mega school or very large school. A related question to this might be, how about for high schools with junior high school and senior high school levels? How will they be classified? The answer is combine or add up their numbers, and depending on their number, you look at the table to determine their category. Also, another related question, how about for integrated schools? So the answer is, it is also considered as one school. So the teachers from kindergarten to junior high school or to senior high school, as the case may be, must also be considered. Okay po. Next question. There are restrictions in the employee number. What shall I do? So the file currently uploaded in the link has no restrictions in the employee number. Please download again if you downloaded the file before May 4, 2020. Also, your employee number can be seen in your pay slips. Ano po? Nandun po lahat yung ating employee number. Next question. Which will I choose in level taught, grade level taught, or subject taught? So the answer is, we have here the first priority. Look at your plantilla or appointment papers. Second priority, look at the majority of numbers you are teaching or the number of your teaching loads. Next question. I cannot edit parts 1, 2, and 3 sheets. What will I do? The answer is, these sheets are protected for any editing and are automatic outputs after all fields in the encoding sheet or tab are accomplished and finalized. Only the encoding sheet or tab and part 4 sheet are open for editing. Another question. What if I did not complete all 4 classroom observations? The answer is, you only have to enter the ratings available at hand. Leave the entire COT column or columns with no available ratings unfilled. No need to lock these COT columns. The quality rating will still compute automatically. For the efficiency rating, please refer to DM45 series of 2020. I think some teachers have no, let's say, COT number 4. This may be because of the lockdown that was imposed in mid-March of this year. Okay? Now, for our last question, what if I have 4 COT rating sheets available? The answer is, for those with 4 COT ratings, the rater and ratee shall agree to whether or not it will be encoded in the IPCRF. The agreement shall primarily consider the advantage or the benefit of the ratee. Okay po? Now, these are the FAQs based on what had been seen by other personnel who had already undergone this same seminar. For our participants who still have some questions, other questions other than what are already given here, please feel free to type them in our message box or email them to HRDD, and this will be addressed shortly. Okay, so my friends, we are now done with the first half of our regional webinar. To discuss the next step and the procedures on the submission and monitoring of IPCRF data, please welcome Sir Liberato T. Umangay Jr., an Education Program Supervisor in the Regional Office 2, who will guide us in his presentation. Sir Liber.
Thank you very much, Sir Elmo. Good morning. Kumusta po tayo? Are we still there? Kaya po. Okay, so before we shall continue with IPCRF data submission and monitoring system, may we have first 5 minutes break. Sir Elmo? Sir Elmo?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For our participants, we are declaring a 5-minute break. So you may use this time for personal necessities. If you want to go to the toilet or if you want to have your snacks, please do it now. And then please be back after 5 minutes. Maraming salamat po.
Sometimes I lay under the moon, and I thank God I'm breathing. Then I pray don't take me soon, cause I'm here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't wanna fight no more. There will be no wars, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day. It's not about win or lose, cause we all lose when they feed on souls on the innocent, undrenched pavement. Keep on moving through the water, saves ranging. And I make you can't lose your way. I'm not drive you crazy, but don't let it phase you. No way, no way. Oh, sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say it out. We don't wanna fight no more, there will be no wars, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one people to say it out. We don't wanna fight no more. There will be no wars, and our children will play. Yeah, one day, one day, one day, we'll one day, one day, one day.
Thank you very much, my dear friends, and welcome back to our regional webinar on the IPCRF Data Collection System for school year 2019-2020. I would like to apologize for the technical interruption a while ago. And before we had our break, Sir Jerry Sario discussed to us the steps, the first few steps in the accomplishing the e-tool for our IPCRF. So this time, we will now proceed to the next session, and that is on how to submit data and also the monitoring of the submission of e-IPCRF. And our presenter is Sir Liberato T. Umangay Jr., the Education Program Supervisor in HRDD Region 2. Sir Liber?
Okay, good morning. Once again, thank you very much, Sir Elmo. So, after Sir Jerry had walked you through the accomplishment of the IPCRF e-tool, I believe everyone is ready. Okay, sandali lang po kasi nawawala ang presentation natin.
Okay po. While waiting for the presentation of Sir Liber, again, I would like to acknowledge our participants from LD4 and LD5. Welcome po kayong lahat. Also, we also have participants from other legislative districts in SDO Isabela. And we also have participants from other divisions who were not able to attend or participate during their scheduled session. So, again, welcome, and let's welcome back Sir Liber for his presentation.
Okay, so good morning once again. Pasensya na po tayo dahil there are some malfunctioning of the system and perhaps embracing the new normal ganito po ang mangyayari when we shall be going to our respective stations with the present pandemic we are in. My task is to present and demonstrate IPCRF data submission and monitoring system. After Sir Jerry had walked you through on the accomplishment of the IPCRF e-tool, I believe I was saying everyone is now ready to submit the teacher's IPCRF files, in which earlier we requested you to download and accomplish those files for us to use this morning. But before we shall go to the discussion on how to submit the IPCRF files, I just want you to give some bits of information pertaining to the system we are to use. IPCRF data submission and monitoring system is a web application made in Google Apps Script intended for the collection of an accomplished prescribed IPCRF form file and data. It is powered by Google Apps Script, written in JavaScript, displayed through HTML, uses Google Drive as file storage, and Google Sheet for database. Thus, we are very sure that all the data we are to submit are secured. And this is free. I just want to show you how the system works. This slide shows how the collection and monitoring process take place. At the school level, as gleaned from the orange box, the school head should be the one to submit the accomplished IPCRF files. But due to the pandemic we are in, he or she may assign someone or together with him to submit said data. Monitoring is for the school's division office, regional office, and central office. In the SDOs, the SGOD chief, the SDO RPMS focal person can access the data submitted by the school heads. In the regional office, the HRDD chief and the regional focal person can only monitor the submissions made by the schools through the school's division offices. And the BHRO, the HRDD shall monitor the nationwide submission. There are two links which we are to use in data submission and monitoring system. The first link would now be used by school heads. And this link is here at the lower left portion of the slide, which says https://bit.ly/IPCRF system submit. While the link to be used by the SDO, regional office, and central office is https://bit.ly/IPCRF monitoring. There are quick steps on how to access the link and how to submit the IPCRF forms. First, we need to open the link earlier stated. https://bit.ly/IPCRF system submit. I'd like to underscore here that the links we are to provide you from this time onwards are case sensitive. So we have to type as they are being written. Capital for capital, lowercase for lowercase. And another one is that you can only access this link making use of your DepEd email. So for now, I believe you understand while we kept on repeating why we need your DepEd email. So you can only access this when you are going to key in the login details which are needed. And they are your DepEd email address and of course the password which you have. Once you have provided the necessary login details, then this pops up in your screen. The privacy notice and the purpose of the system are there. Besides, we have two buttons which are there. First is the green one, which is the button for uploading the IPCRF file, while the second one is the orange one, which will be used to view the submissions we are to make. Before we're going to submit, I'd just like to give you sort of warning or caution that once the teacher would be able to submit his or her own IPCRF file, we have to make sure that all of these files submitted by the individual teachers are complete and accurate. Complete in the sense that all the different blanks are filled out, and of course, what is to be placed in each blank must be the proper data. The next step is to click Upload IPCRF file here. And after clicking Upload IPCRF file here, then the directory or the files where you have saved the IPCRF files would appear. So you have to browse for the file you want to submit or to upload. Okay, next, the system has to meet considerations in order that we shall be able to successfully submit. If you did not meet the condition, there will be warnings. But don't worry because you will be guided by the system on what to do next. That if this pops up, then successful submission or successful uploading would be ensured. It says here that the file selected is already finalized and ready to upload. Another would be this one. When there would be unsuccessful submission or unsuccessful uploading, this would pop up in your screen wherein it says sorry. The system detected incomplete action in the form selected. And as I've said earlier, it leads you what to do next. If you are to look at the status below, we can see that part 1 is finalized, part 4 is finalized, but not for part 2, which is the core behavioral competencies. If this happens, what shall you do? We need to return the IPCRF file submitted by the teacher. Let him or her finalize part 2 to return later to you for uploading and submission. Okay, here's another one, a version error. A version error occurs when the system detected that you are browsing the old version. As pointed out by Sir Jerry and Sir Jess a while ago, we need to make use of the version uploaded May 4, 2020. So if this version error would pop up on your screen, what shall you do? Again, gaya ng sabi ni Sir Jerry, we need to download the file, replicate the file, give it to the teacher concerned, and let him or her finish accomplishing the different things to be accomplished and finalize the things to be finalized. Once they will be finalized, they will be returning the IPCRF file to the uploader or to you as the school head. File error would also be seen if the file selected is not DepEd prescribed IPCRF file. So what shall we do is, if this happened, we need to download the prescribed and latest file, give it to the teacher concerned, then let him fill out until such time that he has to finalize the needed parts and give it back to you for submission. Another file error would occur like what Sir Jerry had pointed out in his first slide, that the file extension of the IPCRF file used by the teacher should be .xlsm, not .xlsx and .xls. So nakikita po natin dito sa left portion, the required file extension for our IPCRF file. So it says .xlsm. So yan po ang file extension ng dapat isubmit ni teacher. If everything would be okay, then we are now ready to click submit. A notice will pop up after a successful submission or uploading. So what will appear in our screen would be a congratulatory message that would tell us that the IPCRF data which we had submitted had been uploaded successfully. So ganun lang po kadali kung paano mag-submit ng IPCRF files. We have 3 quick steps. Moving on, we shall now proceed to the monitoring system. Like in the data submission, we also need to access the link https://bit.ly/IPCRF monitoring. And as we've said earlier, this can only be accessed by the SDO personnel, regional office personnel, and the central office personnel. That the school heads or the assigned uploaders cannot access this link. Okay? So what shall we do? We need to provide our login details, our DepEd email address, the password, and later, this pops up on the screen. So what we can see right now is the core group dashboard, the one used by the central office personnel. So once you were able to submit all the needed data, the monitors from SDOs, ROs, and from the central office will have this one. So ito na po ang nakikita sa central office dashboard. They will be able to see the different regions who have submitted the prescribed IPCRF file, what divisions had submitted in each of the region, further schools in each division, and also the teachers who submitted in each of the schools. So ganun lang po kadali ang mag-submit at mag-monitor. So I believe everything is clear. So we shall now have the actual demonstration. So please take note of the steps as I shall be having the walkthrough or the actual demonstration on how to submit IPCRF files. So as we've said earlier, the very first thing for us to do would be to access the link. And accessing the link would require us to key in our email address and our password, which I am right now doing. And let us see what would appear. Okay. So on your screen is already the IPCRF data submission form for school year 2019-2020. I repeat, I was able to access the link because I used my DepEd email and my password. Now that we are ready, I have to click upload IPCRF file here, there. So clicking the upload IPCRF file here button would lead me to where I have earlier saved the file of the individual teachers. And it could be seen here that I have 4 IPCRF files of 4 different teachers. So I'm going to click the first file, and it says system checking your file. And there, the file selected is already finalized and ready to upload. So yun po ang sabi ng system. So once we see that, we have to click OK. Then after it, click submit, sabi kanina. So there. Please wait, system is uploading your file, sabi. And there it goes. Congratulations, your IPCRF data has been uploaded successfully. So we are to click OK. And there, further, congratulations, file uploaded successfully. Now I was saying earlier that once the IPCRF files of each teacher would be complete and accurate, then we can submit them individually. The system for now can only make use of individual uploading and individual submission. It cannot accept batch submission or batch uploading. So with that case, after we have uploaded one file, then we need to submit another one. What shall we do next? We have to click Submit Data, click Upload IPCRF file here, look for the file of the next teacher, and it is there. Okay? System is checking the file. Let's see what happens. And the file selected is already finalized and ready to upload. So again, we click OK. I still have other two IPCRF files to be uploaded. So we have to submit, and it says, please wait, system is uploading your file. Okay, congratulations. Your IPCRF data has been uploaded successfully. So again, click OK. Go to the submit data button, click it, click upload IPCRF file here, look for the third IPCRF file of the teacher, and what does it say? Sorry, sabi po ng system. System detected incomplete action in the form selected. So please see below for details. So ayan daw po. If you're going to look down the status, it says that part 1 was finalized. Part 4 was also finalized, but not for part 2. So as we were telling earlier, if this happens in the submission, we need to return the IPCRF file earlier submitted to the teacher concerned. Let him or her finalize the said file. Okay? So we click OK kasi hindi tinanggap ng system. Again, meron pa tayong isa na i-submit. So what shall we do next? We need to click the button Upload IPCRF file here. And look for the fourth IPCRF teacher's file. And click it. Oh, ang sabi dito, sorry. System detected incomplete action in the form selected. Please see below for details. And again, if we are going to look at the status, we can see that none of the parts was finalized. Parts 1, 2, and 4 were not finalized. So what shall we do? We need to return the file to the teacher. Let him finalize part 1, 2, and 4 in such a way that the system will accept. Now, since I'm already done uploading the 4 teachers under my care, so what shall I do next? Ano naman kaya ang gamit ng button na View Submission? Tingnan natin. In such a way that we shall be able to determine the number of uploadings or submissions we have made earlier, then we can click View Submission, Select the region, and that would now be Cagayan Valley. Next, browse. And it says, the system found 4 records you submitted. Paano kaya nangyari yon? Dalawang files lang ang successfully accepted. Well, perhaps one of the reasons would be, I forgot that I have uploaded the files beforehand. That in this case, we can see that there are 2 files of Teacher Mary Candido, the same teacher. Likewise, 2 files of Teacher JR. So what shall we do next? Yan na po ngayon ang dahilan kung bakit may delete button. So, since repeatedly submitted yung IPCRF file ng bawat isa, we can click delete. Then it says there, are you sure? Then we have, yes, delete it. Then system is already deleting the data. Maghintay lang po tayo, lalong-lalo na't mahina ang ating net. Okay, anong sabi ng system? IPCRF data has been deleted successfully in the database. So we click OK. There. And the system found 3 records na lang which we have submitted. So again, click OK. So pag tiningnan natin dito, dalawa pa rin ang file ni Teacher Mary. So i-delete natin yung isa. There it says, okay, system is deleting the data. Let's wait. And IPCRF file has been deleted successfully in the database. So there, the system found 2 records which we have submitted. So we click OK. Pwede rin po nating tingnan on the right portion of this slide, the submissions. So nandito na po yung ating successfully submitted. Okay? What if the school head has 10 teachers under his care? Anong gagawin niya? Kung nakapag-upload na siya ng 2, magsasubmit pa rin siya ng data. So he or she has to click submit data. Again, click upload IPCRF file here and click submit. So repetitively, if there are 50 teachers, you need to submit individually the IPCRF files of these 50 teachers. Ang dami naman. Kaya nga sabi po kanina, and we shall be discussing afterwards, that the school head can assign uploaders. Strategy na po niya kung anong gagawin in such a way that there will be lesser time in the submission of the IPCRF files of these 50 teachers. So okay po, ganon ang ating gagawin. So madali lang po kung paano mag-submit ng IPCRF files. So there are just 3 steps on how we're going to submit. First, click the link, provide the login details, after which we're going to have click upload IPCRF file here, then click submit. So yun lang po. Ngayon, habang nagsasubmit naman si school head, pwede namang mag-monitor si SDO, si RO, o kaya si central office. Paano rin po kaya sila mag-monitor? Okay, let us see. So ang sabi kanina, we need to access the link before we have to log in. So in logging in, requirement po natin ang ating DepEd email. And after keying in the DepEd email, the next step would be to provide our password. Then once the password is given, then that would lead us to this dashboard. At the regional office, this will be the dashboard which we can see on the screen. Gaya ng sabi ko kanina, we cannot access the link for the SDOs kasi hindi naman kami authorized sa SDO level. But since we are authorized in the regional office level, then we will be able to see the dashboard for the regional office. And as we can see here, there are already 1,374 teachers who have submitted their IPCRF files via the school head submission. And these teachers came from 255 schools and from further 7 divisions. So sa regional office, nakikita po namin kung anong division ang nakapag-submit. And from the pie graph, we have here Batanes, Cagayan, Kawayan City, Ilagan City, Isabela, Nueva Vizcaya, and Quirino. Okay, so may dalawa pang SDOs na walang nasubmit. Further, maliban sa schools division offices na nag-submit, pwede rin tayong bababa, and we can see now here, the schools division offices, sabi natin kanina, can see the schools and the names. Ganon din po sa amin sa regional office. That SDO Isabela had submitted from a school with an ID of 103123, bearing no school name here and with no name of teacher. And that was submitted by Sir Orly Nicolas. Siguro, for practice submission, ginawa lang po ni Sir Orly ito, in which nagawa niya kasi kahit hindi niya nilagyan ng school name or kaya name ng teacher, since walang drop-down arrow ang mga to, pwede siyang maglagay ng kung ano man sa blank na yan. So for instance, in the school name, nilagyan lang niya ng dot o kaya ng dash, as well as in the teacher's data, particularly the name, nilagyan din niya ng ganon. So walang nakalagay and we can see it dito sa dashboard na to. That was the very reason why I was telling you earlier that we need only to submit IPCRF files that are complete and accurate. So bago tayo mag-submit, I repeat, we need to see individually if the teacher had finalized the different parts. Okay, moving downward, we have here from Cagayan, Quirino, Ilagan City, Kawayan City, and other SDOs. And we can see the name of the teachers as well as the name of the schools with their respective school ID. So sample, we have here from Camalanyugan National High School, Maine, with a school ID of 300,444, and the name of the teacher who submitted it is Mila Mengilya, submitted by the principal, Sir Eliasar Rabaha. Okay, so nakikita po natin diyan. So ganun po ang processes ng data submission at saka monitoring. Madali lang, ano po? So earlier, we have requested you to download the IPCRF files of the teachers and try to fill out the needed data. So ngayon naman, pagkatapos kong i-demonstrate kung paano mag-submit, then it will be your turn to submit during our simulation. Okay, so ready na po ba tayo sa ating simulation? If you are ready, then I'll be giving you 5 minutes to do the necessary exploration. Okay, so inuulit natin ang steps bago tayo magkaroon ng simulation. The first step is we need to access the link. And accessing the link, would mean our DepEd email address and password. After accessing the link, we are to click Upload IPCRF file here, click Submit, and after clicking Submit, then you can view the submissions. Repetitively, pwede nating gawin iyon. So I repeat, if there are 10 teachers who submitted their IPCRF files, then there will be 10 submissions which has to be done by the school head or the assigned uploader. Okay po? So those are the quick steps, the simple steps on how to submit IPCRF files. So for you to do your part, let's now have the simulation. Enjoy working. Huwag po kayong aalis because we still have much things to talk on. Okay, kumusta po? Were you able to do the uploading? Sino po sa atin ang nakapag-upload? Are you now ready to upload when you will be in your respective schools, if ever? Sana nga po. Because if you're going to look at the time given, it's just 5 minutes. And if ever, it will be our first time to see and to know the different steps on how we can submit the necessary IPCRF files, then I believe 5 minutes would never be enough. But don't worry, because we shall be giving you enough time going over how to submit IPCRF data files. Okay, so we have here the slide containing the two links we have used. The first one is for you, the school heads, and the second would be for the monitors. We would just like to tell you that you cannot access this link if you do not have the Google Chrome browser. So nasabi po kanina ni Sir Jerry kung paano po ang ating gagawin in such a way that we shall be able to use these forms na talagang magamit natin at our own level. Okay? Next, we would also like to emphasize here the slide containing the roles of each of the rater as well as the ratee. As Sir Jerry had discussed earlier, mayroon pong 4 na dapat gawin si rater samantalang si ratee ay may isa. Pero hindi dahil sa iisa, then it means papabayaan na niya. So as a review, we have here the rater, would have to download the IPCRF tool, encodes ratees data, encodes part 1, that is the COT and the QET ratings, gives it to the ratee, who shall encode parts 2 and 4, and after that, after finalizing, isasubmit na po niya kay rater. Okay. That in the next slide, we have the emphasized color, the orange part. And I would just like to reiterate that the school head must be the one to submit the IPCRF files. But due to the pandemic, he or she may assign someone, another personnel, to submit the necessary files. Okay? And with that, we have here the latest DepEd memorandum in which we shall be using to guide us in the submission of our IPCRF files. That this memorandum is numbered DMPH-PHRODFO-2020-00199, signed by Undersecretary Jesus L. R. Mateo, with the subject updates on the results-based performance management system for school years 2019, 2020, and 2020, 2021. As I've been telling from the first batch of this webinar for the Isabela group, you are very lucky because in the previous batches, wala po itong DepEd order na to na ginamit para sa ganon guide nila in the submission. But in addition to DepEd Memorandum number 45 series of 2020, the one discussed by Sir Jess and mentioned by Sir Elmo in the frequently asked questions, we have here another memorandum to guide us on the timelines. And please do not leave yet, because this will be very important. The contents of which would be very important, And this memo is dated June 16, 2020. So let us go and look into the provisions of this memorandum. It says here, this has reference to Section 10J of DepEd Order Number 11, Series of 2020, titled Revised Guidelines on alternative work arrangements in the Department of Education during the period of state of national emergency due to the COVID-19 pandemic, indicating the completion of the results-based performance management system requirements of the school year 2019-2020 as one of the work priorities anchored on the operationalization of the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan and school calendar and activities for school year 2020-2021. Further, it says, in view of the above, all DepEd schools can resume the RPMS portfolio submission and evaluation with recalibrated efficiency component stipulated in DepEd Memorandum Number 45 Series of 2020 and the data collection and consolidation of IPCRF rating for school-based personnel following the adjusted timeline. So we have here Annex A, which we shall be discussing in a while, and also Annex B, which is the preliminary guidelines relative to the next cycle of RPMS. Moving on, guided by the community quarantine declarations in the different areas of the country and by the alternative work arrangement issuances by the department, all school division superintendents and school heads are directed to employ all possible and available modalities in the resumption of the RPMS portfolio submission and evaluation with due diligence and caution following the protocols. And mentioned here are, first, alternative strategies and online platforms shall be utilized. Second, in cases when physically reporting to school is necessary, for the retrieval of the means of verifications that are within the school premises, or if it necessitates for the ratee and the rater to have face-to-face assessment, sabi dito, minimum public health standards and stringent physical distancing measures shall be strictly observed. Technical support and utmost consideration to school-based personnel who may encounter logistical challenges, say transportation or exposure to the vulnerable groups, in the performance of duties to comply with this memorandum is expected from the school heads. Meron pong emphasis dito. It says, priority shall be given to the conduct of year-end assessment of senior high school teachers on provisional status in view of the renewal of the respective appointments, subject to applicable DepEd guidelines and Civil Service Commission rules and regulations. I repeat, priority shall be given to the conduct of year-end assessment of senior high school teachers on the provisional status in view of the renewal of the respective appointments subject to applicable DepEd guidelines and Civil Service Commission rules and regulations. So uunahin po natin ang senior high school teachers. The prescribed IPCRF form for teachers, the user's guide of the entire IPCRF data collection system for school year 2019-2020 are contained in this link. Yan. Likewise, this memorandum tells us that particularly for the school heads to have their nominated school-based personnel or school-based IPCRF uploaders to register with the link http://bit.ly/IPCRF user registration on or before July 6, 2020. For emphasis, I repeat, school heads should let their IPCRF uploaders on or before July 6, 2020. Okay, so dapat silang mag-register on or before that date. Okay. We are also giving you some links for RPMS 2019-2020 materials. So ito na po sila. Please visit the links download the necessary materials and share to your teachers. Okay? So the next slide would now give us the adjusted schedule of RPMS school year 2019-2020 year-end activities for school-based personnel. So this is now contained in the Annex A of the memorandum. So it must be noted that the ratees and the raters shall be able to finalize the RPMS portfolio, submit the said portfolio, the ratee-rater agreement on the final IPCRF rating, development planning by the ratee, and ratee-rater conference to discuss Phase 4 on IPCRF development plan are contained in the column for task and activity. Okay. Take note, you need to collaborate in such a way that you shall be able to come up with these things. And for the timeline, it says here that the start must be 4th week of June. So ngayon na po. And to end on the 4th week of July 2020. And what are the things that are to be done? So ayan. In relation to what Sir Jerry had given earlier, the ratee accomplishes parts 1 and 2 of the encoding tab of the EIPCRF. Next, the ratee and the rater agree on the QET ratings. And ratee clicks the finalize button of parts 1 and 2 of the encoding tab. Further, the ratee accomplishes part 4 of the EIPCRF and submits the final copy to the rater for final verification. On the next slide would now be the different means of verification to be presented by the teacher. So ito po ang ibinigay ng BHROD through Sir Angelo Uy such that kung ano na po yung mga wala dyan, huwag na po nating hanapin. For the teachers who are here, kung ano po ang nakikita natin dito sa picture na to, then ito na. Huwag na tayong magbigay pa ng iba. Okay? And I would just want to read to you the message of Sir Angelo when he gave this picture. Naipadala na ang memo sa regional offices para sa pagpapatuloy ng RPMS 2019-2020 na natigil pansamantala dahil sa pandemya. Ang pagpapatuloy na ito ay bilang pagtalima sa DO2 series of 2015 at ang paglift ng postponement na nakasaad sa DM45 series of 2020 at DO11 series of 2020. At yung dalawang memo na yan ay yung postponement for DM45 and the lifting per section 10J for DO11. Dahil dito, sabi niya, nasa larawan ang mga means of verification na kailangang mailagay sa RPMS portfolio para sa pag-assess ng ating mga raters. Maaring pumunta sa HTTP, so ito po yung link, para sa RPMS tools at sa kumpletong listahan ng means of verification. Malinaw na nakasaad sa memo, nakasabay ng kagustuhan natin na maisagawa ang lahat ng natitirang activities para sa RPMS 2019-2020 ay ang ating mariing paalaala na ang pag-aayos, pagpapasa at pag-assess ng portfolio ay maaring maisagawa while working from home. Ngunit, kung kinakailangan kumuha ng mga MOV sa paaralan at dalhin pabalik sa bahay o may mga challenges sa online assessment at kinakailangang magsagawa ng face-to-face assessment, ay maaaring pupunta sa paaralan, ngunit may pagsasaalang-alang sa minimum health standards at stringent social distancing measures. Makipag-ugnayan po sa ating school head para maisagawa ito ng maayos at ligtas. So ayun po ang message ni Sir Angelo Uy galing sa BHROD para sa pagsasaayos, pagsasagawa at pagbibigay ng katuparan ng final output natin dito, which is the IPCRF final rating of the teacher. So balikan po natin ang larawan. Nakapaloob po dito sa larawang ito that for RPMS means of verification for teachers 1 to 3 are on the left side, while for master teachers 1 to 4 are on the right side. In each of the different objectives, means of verification are already presented there. As I've been telling earlier, huwag na po nating hanapin ang wala po dyan. At isaayos natin para sa ganon, magkakaroon tayo ng magandang IPCRF rating with consideration to the minimum health standards. Okay? Moving on, for the school head, ito naman po ang ating mga task or activities. So dito sa nauna, the ratees and the raters. So maaring wala po si school head dito. Maari ding meron. Kasi depende sa eskwelahan po natin kung meron tayong master teacher o wala, merong assistant principal or wala, then we shall be able to determine kung sino po ang ratee at saka rater dito. Pero kung sakaling wala po ang master teacher o kaya assistant principal sa school kung saan tayo o kaya head teacher sa school kung saan tayo, kailangang si school head ang gagawa po nito. Okay. As the focal person in this slide, the school head, he or she has to harvest electronic and printed IPCRFs of all teachers. Further, he or she has to submit the electronic IPCRFs to the CO via online IPCRF data collection system. Pero dahil nasabi kanina that depending upon the size, strategy na po ni teacher kung sino ang kanyang hihirangin o kaya gagawan ng recommendation or nomination such that may katuwang siya sa pag-submit ng IPCRF file ni teacher. And take note of the timeline. These tasks or activities shall start first week of August and ends third week of August. While in the SDO level, magmo-monitor po si SDO habang nagsasubmit si school head. So they have the same timelines. First week of August and third week of and ends on third week of August. Pati rin naman sa regional office, we shall be monitoring with the same timelines, and that would be first week of August to third week of August. So habang hindi pa formal yung date ng ating pag-submit, pwede na tayong gagawa ng paraan para sa ganun makapag-practice tayo na mag-submit. Dahil kapag closed na po yung system for trial submission, ang ating isasubmit would be final na push sila. Kaya yung mga nakapag-submit na earlier, please huwag nyo pong i-delete yung mga files ng mga guro ninyo para sa ganon, i-re-resubmit natin pag nandoon na po yung official date for the submission of IPCRF data. And the central office shall also be monitoring from the 4th week of August to the 4th week of September. So ayan po yung timelines para sa pag-submit at pag-monitor ng ating IPCRF files or data. Okay? Now, for non-teaching personnel, ito rin po ang kanilang timelines. For the sake of the school heads and the PSDSS present here, yung una-una po kung sinabi natin ay para sa mga school-based personnel. Pero ito, yung slide na naipapakita is for the non-teaching personnel. So the same task and activities would be there, and the schedule would now be 4th week of June to the 3rd week of August 2020. Further, we have here the contents of the Annex B, which is the preliminary guidelines relative to the RPMS for school year 2020-2021. Next school year po ito for school-based personnel. I mean, yung susunod na school year kasi nandito na tayo sa 2020-21, di po ba? But hindi pa nag-umpisa. On the general guidelines, we have the Department of Education maintains the advice to wait for the issuance of the comprehensive guidelines on the performance of RPMS 2020-2021 activities for school-based personnel. Second, the guidelines set to be released shall primarily consider the basic education learning continuity plan, including the available learning delivery modalities in the entire country. The new guidelines on work arrangements for officials, teaching and non-teaching personnel in all its offices, units, and schools, and the consequent adjustments in the protocols, says there, and timelines. Okay? Third, the orientations, training, and capacity building activities shall employ the most appropriate delivery modality while strictly observing minimum public health standards and stringent physical distancing measures consistent with the policies set forth by the Office of the President, the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases, and other related DepEd-issued policies. For the teaching personnel, we have here the preliminary guideline in letter B. In view of the DM-PHRODFO-2020-00154 dated 27 April 2020 titled Update on the Conduct of Regional Division Capability Building for Raters on the Next 12 Philippine Professional Standard for Teachers Indicators of the Results-Based Performance Management System for school year 2020-2021, the capacity building activities shall resume as soon as the RPMS tools and other RPMS-related forms and support materials are released in support to the new guidelines on RPMS 2020-2021. So maghintay lang po tayo. While for the non-teaching personnel, school heads are advised to assist all non-teaching personnel in the performance target setting, development of IPCRF, and initial development planning during the phase 1 of the RPMS cycle, which is school year 2020-2021. So yun po ang nakapaloob sa DepEd Memo number 2020-00199. So maliwanag po, nakapaloob na po dito yung timelines as well as preliminary guidelines as to the conduct of the year-end RPMS assessment for 2019-2020 and preliminary guidelines for 2020-2021. Okay? So we move on. Why are we doing this IPCRF data collection? Ano po ang gadget nito? At paano po gagawin ni school head, division, and regional as well as the central office analyze the summary results? So while the teacher would be submitting his or her own IPCRF rating or file, it would be up for the school head to look into its objective, determine the rating in its objective, and finally, the final rating. So in doing so, makikita niya kung anong objective, in which objectives do his or her teachers excel. Saan sila nangangailangan ng technical assistance. So anong gamit ngayon nitong ating RPMS ratings? We have here, for the raters, the results of this RPMS rating would be used to identify and provide the kinds of interventions needed based on the Part 4 of the teacher's IPCRF rating. For the performance management team, the results would be used to identify potential praise awards nominees. For the praise committee, the results would be used in determining top performers of the agency, and for the central office, particularly BHROD and NEAP, the consolidated IPCRF ratings will be used for them to coordinate with development interventions needed by the teacher as basis for these rewards and incentives. Further, at the school level, these results would be used by you, school heads, in determining how many teachers got which rating in which objective at each position or subject area. Further, which objectives should be considered as learning and development priorities based on the school-wide consolidated IPCRF data. Moreover, what LND activities and programs can be developed to immediately address the needs of teachers? And most importantly, how can the school head improve his or her own instructional supervision plan or mechanism to support his or her teachers? For the SDO, RO, and CO, the results would lead us to answer the question, which objective should be considered as learning and development priorities based on the division and region-wide consolidated data, by knowing the averages of the final rating and the rating per quality, efficiency, and timeliness. Further, what interventions can be provided to schools to support and improve the teachers in terms of content and pedagogy, curriculum delivery, and coaching and mentoring? And to sum up, why we need to collect the IPCRF data, we have here the slides. The RPMS data submitted by the teachers would be used to determine the strengths and weaknesses of each. Knowing the strengths and the weaknesses or the priority for development, they will be carefully analyzed, and once analyzed, interventions would have to be given to address such. Once delivered, would result to a professionally developed teacher ready to be rewarded and to receive incentives. Okay? So we now go to our ways forward. After this webinar, the school head may now do online orientation activities for the teachers. But perhaps by now, all the teachers are already oriented because we included them. We invited them to attend this webinar in such a way that wala nang cascading na mangyari sa school level. Likewise, for those who have not attended yet the said webinar, the school head may let them attend the last run of this webinar on July 30. We shall be providing you the link later. Further, the school head may now practice submitting online IPCRF data. And I would like to reiterate the announcement made earlier, all the files before August, will be deleted. So dapat mag-practice na tayo. Okay? So in such a way that we shall be able to do or to successfully submit, let us download DepEd Memo number 45, 2020 kung hindi pa natin na-download, and the memo earlier presented to guide us in the submission and in the accomplishment of these IPCRF files and data. Okay? Further, we promise to give you the slides used in the webinar. So mamaya na po, pwede na namin ibigay ang slides para sa SDO Isabela and the IPCRF Data Collection System user guides. If you shall be accomplishing the e-attendance and evaluation form found at the link https://cat.ly/9ynrhp7. And for the last time, I'd like to tell you, all the links that we are providing and we have provided are all case sensitive. Okay? Please carefully and accurately encode your details, your name, spell it correctly as you encode such that in the digital certificate, your correct name would be placed. And moreover, we would like you to give us your land bank account number. Tell us if it is savings or current account, followed by the number. Inuulit ko, sayang din lang po. Kung ibibigay nyo doon yung SA o kaya CA, dapat merong number. The complete savings, the complete account number. Savings 0001, ganun. Current account CA 235111, mga ganon. And we're giving you up to this afternoon to accomplish this e-attendance and evaluation form. So okay po. So for now, nakikita po natin that there are still 1,367 attending this webinar. And we thank you for staying this long with us. Should you have questions, should there be gray areas as to the presentations made earlier, please don't hesitate to give your questions or queries to hrdd.region2@deped.gov.ph. You can reach us through this email. And before we shall end, I'd like to give you, for his parting message, our chief in the HRDD, Sir Jerry Sario. Sir?
Thank you very much, Sir Lib. So as a parting message, because it's already beyond 12 o'clock, no? I'd like to thank you for the warm response to this webinar session. Thank you also to RD Estela, Carino, SDS Madeline Macaling, and ASDS Ma'am Edna and Sir Dante for supporting this initiative for our teachers. To SGOD Chief Sir Jess, Antonio, and of course to our counterpart, Ma'am Isay and Sir Elmo for co-managing this webinar. Thank you so much. To you, our dear PSDS and school heads, thank you also for your active participation and for allowing your teachers to attend this webinar. This means a lot to them as they are the recipient of this tool or system. I also would like to recognize our district supervisors who are in attendance to this webinar. Thank you for taking part in this endeavor. I hope that through your participation or your attendance, there will be no more confusion in the field as we shall implement these adjustments to the performance management system of our teachers. This is the work dynamics that we would like to happen at the school level, school head and PSDS complementing each other in providing support to our teachers. I wish you good luck as you will further explore the system with your teachers through school-based learning action cell, be it online or face-to-face. My only caution is for you to have the right messaging. Explain to our teachers that we are doing this so that we would be able to gather the right data, because once we have the right data with us, then we can plan, design, develop, and deliver the right intervention for their continuing development, professional development rather. Again, congratulations, and I wish everyone safe and healthy. Have a happy lunch. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, sir. Can we now have also our SGOD chief, Sir Yes Antonio?
Thank you very much, Sir Liber, for the opportunity to give my concluding message. So, first of all, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to uh, the HRDD headed by our very own energetic Sir Jerry, of course, with the support of Sir Liber, and likewise our HRD counterpart in the SDO, Ma'am Isay and Sir Elmo. Uh, we also would like to appreciate the support of our leaders, education leaders, Ma'am RD Estela Carino and Ma'am Madeline Macaling for giving this opportunity for our teachers, for our school heads, our PSDS, and other members of DepEd in order to come up with this data collection using the platform that we are now using it. And so I do hope that everybody already have a clear in their mind to how to do it, because as we can see for the last three leg of this webinar, it was clearly and patiently discussed to all our teachers, our raters, the process, and all the details of how we will go about it, including the timelines. It is very clear for us. That's why sabi ni Sir Jerry kanina, I hope nawala ng questions, because as we can see, the process, it was really great help for us in the schools, in the division, and in the regional level as well, so that we will meet the target as expected. So on behalf of the uh, School Governance and Operations Division, we gladly thank everyone for the support and the cooperation. Thank you very much to all the participants. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Thank you very much, Sir Liber.
Yes. May we have also Sir Elmo?
Yes, Sir Liber. We would like to thank the HRDD team in the regional office, being led by Sir Jerry Sario. Thank you for the opportunity to be of help in co-managing this regional seminar. Sir Liber, thank you also, and to your other companions there at the regional office, especially to Ma'am Estela El Carreño. Thank you very much po. Thank you din po sa mga kasama ko dito sa SDO Isabela, Sir Jess, Ma'am Madeline, and also Ma'am Isay. In her behalf po, I would like to thank all of you, and also thank you sa ating mga participants who had been with us from Wednesday, Thursday, and also today. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. This is Elmo Imbag, EPS2 ng HRDS Isabela, now signing off po.
Thank you.
Thank you po sa lahat.
Salamat, sir.
At this point po, gusto namin kayong anyayahan para sa last na webinar natin, last na run ng ating webinar on June 30, 2020. That will be Tuesday at 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock in the morning.